Lasting Lifestyles is a series designed to inform individuals and their caregivers about managing chronic illnesses and disabilities. Through this series and the Lasting Lifestyles website, individuals connect to family, friends, and healthcare professionals to support a better quality of life. Now please join host Janet Corbley as she talks with medical and lifestyle experts about the issues, solutions, and support of wellness planning. Be informed, be connected, be empowered with Lasting Lifestyles.
Welcome to our discussion today on understanding total wellness. And joining me in this discussion is neurologist Dr. Maria Choy. Dr. Choy, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome.
Could you please help us understand what is the philosophy behind total wellness and how would that relate to your practice of neurology?
Well, I think of total wellness as keeping healthy rather than fixing a problem once it starts. In the old Asian traditions in China, they used to pay a doctor to keep them well. And if they became sick, the doctor had failed in his or her job, and therefore they stopped paying the doctor and they had to fix the patient. Well, total wellness is all about keeping healthy, doing the things that keep you well, the diet, the exercise, the mind-body techniques that keep you well.
Now, today in our conventional form of practice in medicine, we live so much in seeking care based on symptoms. How would total wellness be different in really seeking that overall health?
Well, the main difference is that people will come to you before they have symptoms. You're not sick when you come, so how do we deal with it? Well, we deal with keeping the hygiene that keeps us healthy. Food for the body, food for the mind, and food for the spirit. We are made up of body, mind, and spirit. And all three need to be fed. Right now, we're only feeding the body. And we do very little with the mind and spirit, and we need to approach the whole person. So when a person comes to me with a chronic condition, I always interview them and ask them about their social life, about their spiritual life, and see how it affects their physical manifestations.
So it's holistically looking at an individual when they come in. There's the symptom, but your mission is to get beyond the symptom, what is actually causing this. And it may be something from the emotional side and the mental side, more than just the physical side, if that may just be the symptom.
More often than not, it comes from all three aspects of us. We are made up as a total unit. In Western society, we have a reductionist theory that one person takes care of the body, and then you go to the psychiatrist to take care of the mind, and you go to your priest or spiritual leader to take care of your spirit. But really, if you go back to Hippocrates, if you go back to even Carl Jung, or if you go back to 5,000 years of Chinese medicine, it's all about the whole person. It's harmony among all aspects of a person.
Now, Dr. Choy, you address that we provide food for the body, but how would one provide food for the mind and food for the soul?
Food for the mind. Well, food for the mind is very stimulating. For me, it's reading a good book, doing some puzzles, and that's just very simplistic. But I think the most important food for the mind is interpersonal relationships. We live in a high-tech society. We are in front of a TV, in front of the computer, and we don't interact. We need to interact with people. We need to have relationships. Studies have shown that men who are married live longer than men who are single. And men who are happily married live longer and healthier than men who are unhappily married. So based on those studies, it's very important to keep intersocial relationships in place. And most importantly, learn something new every so often. I mean, yes, I'm a doctor, but every 10 years I pick up a new skills. 10, 15 years ago I picked up acupuncture. This year I picked up nutritional therapy. I'm thinking homeopathy down the line. But pick up new skills, learn new things, get excited about just assimilating new information.
And challenging the mind.
Absolutely.
And you know, life is a journey for sure.
Absolutely.
And stay on the journey. If we could go back for a moment to feeding our bodies. You know, we know that there are supposed to be certain foods that are really good for us, and, you know, certain vegetables and oils, and but then we always have our favorite foods, and it's so hard to like stick to that diet, so to speak, that is supposed to be really good. How would one work around reaching the point of wellness through nutrition?
Well, nutrition is one of the key factors to wellness. It's a foundation. Well, garbage in, garbage out, right? So the problem with a specific diet is that people think that, okay, I'm on a diet now, I'm going to reach my goal, and then once we reach our goal, you have a big party and you come off your diet. That doesn't work. It has to be a lifestyle change. So what I recommend people is to deconstruct their cravings. Why are you craving?
Good point.
Why are you craving? Once you know why you're craving, you can deal with it. A lot of times we're craving because, not because we want the food, but because it's an emotional crutch. Other times we crave because we are, even though in America we tend to be on the heavy side, we still undernourished. We have a lot of calories, but we don't have nutrition. So if you're craving sweets, there's a Chinese principle that there are 5 basic flavors. It's sweet, bitter, pungent, and so on and so forth, salty and sour. And if you are missing, if you're craving a specific flavor, let's take sweets, it's because you're missing the nutrients that the foods that contain that sweet flavor have. And studies have shown that each flavor seems to contain a different set of biochemical structures that we need. So if you're craving sweets and you fill yourself with refined sugars, you're still not getting the nourishment. So the more sugar you take, the more you'll crave it because you're not taking the foods that are sweet that have that. So what are some sweet foods? So sweet potatoes, carrots, good fruit. If you eat sweet foods that are good for you, eventually, even though you might gain a little weight at the beginning, eventually you will deconstruct that specific craving because your body will have the nutrients associated with it.
It's reorienting your body to what is healthy.
To what is good.
And how does this relate to the food pyramid?
Well, the food pyramid, the first food pyramid was from the 1990s, and you had at the bottom your carbohydrates. You have 6 different food groups. At the bottom you have your carbohydrates, and on top you have the very little oil and very little sugar. However, in that first food pyramid, they never told you about what kind of carbohydrates to have. So when people were having bread, they were having bread without fiber, white bread, and instead of having a whole food that has its complete nutrients in it. The new pyramid has flipped that on the side so that you need a key to understand what each of those bars mean. So you have to go online and read up all the keys in terms of what it means, what portion size, and so on and so forth. But it's really good in that they added exercise when they flipped over the pyramid. So you have this man going up the steps and they added exercise, which is a key to keeping healthy. However, if somebody added up the calories involved in the food pyramid, if you took all the recommended portions in there, and they added up to something like 3,000 calories, which is just too much for the average person.
That's amazing information, and more knowledge is power, and understanding what is healthy for you and reaching that ultimate total wellness. Dr. Choy, thank you so much for this incredible information and nourishment.
You're welcome.
For more information on achieving total wellness, please log into our website, Lasting Lifestyles, at www.lastinglifestyles.net. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Janet Corbally, host of Lasting Lifestyles, a program created to provide informal caregivers the information they need to help a loved one manage a chronic condition. Today, there's so much information available to caregivers that it can be overwhelming. Therefore, Lasting Lifestyles was created as a new education and support program to help you. You can go to our website for information and tools that can help you be a better caregiver. And watch our television series, where we interview local experts on topics related to chronic conditions and wellness planning. Log on to lastinglifestyles.net.
It may seem intimidating, but really, it's one of the easiest things you can ever do.
I've been practicing.
Good. You're gonna need it.
Help America's youth. Be a friend. Be a mentor. Just be there.
Go to bigbrothersbigsisters.org.
Hello, our discussion today is total wellness via exercise and mind. Joining me in this discussion is neurologist Dr. Maria Choy. Dr. Choy, thank you for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome.
Dr. Choy, when we think of total wellness, we need to include exercise for the mind, body, spirit. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely.
And how does that, when we think of exercise, you know, I think of going to the gym, or I think of walking along the beach and trying to get myself out there and being active in some way that gives me space but also healing for my body. How does it affect me emotionally, spiritually? We're sensing how it does physically, but overall body, when we're looking at total wellness, the effect of exercise?
Well, exercise is a method whereby we don't just cause our hearts to pump faster, but we also want to, at the same time, stimulate our minds if possible. Exercise for the body includes any activity that will increase your heart rate, but exercise for the mind will also help your brain reach that organized alpha state of meditation. So you can have moving meditation like Tai Chi, which will exercise your body and burn as much as 240 calories per hour if you do it correctly. Wow. And at the same time, while exercising your body, you're having a focus and having special breathing that will focus your mind and create that alpha wave that is so healing in nature, because when that alpha wave is released, you also release the neurotransmitters that that cause positive changes, that diminish inflammation, that relieve pain, and creates that sense of well-being. Have you ever been running and suddenly hit the wall where you couldn't run anymore, and then you get a surge? That surge is the release of neurotransmitters. Those are the good neurotransmitters. It feels really good. You feel you're on high. You feel you could go forever. That's the kind of feeling you want to get from your exercise.
I was wondering where that came from. All of a sudden, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to make it to the next quarter mile. And then all of a sudden, it just kind of
That's
pops
right.
in.
You get it. You get those neurotransmitters and you keep going.
Well, you bring up
good.
an excellent point, Dr. Choy. You know, when you're dealing, say, with a particular condition, or as our community within Lasting Lifestyles are dealing with the stress of caregiving issues and daily responsibilities, working, managing family, trying to tell someone to bring balance in their life is more than just words. That there is incredible value when we're looking at one's total well-being, whether you're dealing with the condition or assisting someone in dealing with the condition.
Absolutely.
You need to come back to your center.
Right.
And I think you brought up a wonderful point, because I never realized I was doing this. In the walking or the running or whatever we choose to do as our exercise, it brings us to a meditative state. And you kind of go off, and that's healthy.
Yeah, that is the best thing you can do for yourself. Those are the chemicals you want to release. It is not the adrenaline from running faster. That gets your heart going faster. And there's some benefits to that, but there are also negative effects to adrenaline. You want to instead get the serotonin going, the endorphins going, you want to diminish cytokines, you want to diminish cortisol, you want to increase natural killer cell activity, and that's what the meditative state brings you up to.
So what advice, Dr. Choy, could you provide to our community to put together that total wellness plan? To exercise, to challenge the mind and bring one to a center of mind, body, spirit?
Well, you need to do everything with a focus, with a mindfulness. Instead of coming home and plopping in front of a TV, you might want to, if you need to deconstruct and sit in front of a TV, at least sit in front on an exercise ball, so you're stimulating your muscles as you're doing that. Do some meditative breathing in the process, and work it into your life. When you're cooking, if you're a woman, if you're cooking, instead of using an electric egg beater, use a whisk. Use your hands more, use your mind more. Ditch the recliner. 80% of the Americans have problems with their backs or problems waiting to happen because we don't use our back muscles anymore. We sit on comfy chairs and comfy couches. Ditch that recliner and sit straight, and you'll find that back problems will go away. You don't have to go to the gym and work out with all those heavy-duty equipment to do that. Although I'm not saying it's not good, I'm just saying that there are other ways to do it too if you are not disciplined enough to have a workout. But if you do work out, do so 10, 15, even 5 minutes a day. It's better than 2 hours once a week. It's the regularity.
And that commitment to oneself.
Absolutely.
Now, Dr. Choy, when we think about the mind and the body, we're also thinking about the spirit and, what we're kind of putting out there. And spirituality means it's different for individuals and what that truly means, but it's really come into a sacred space of centering within yourself and having a connection to your spirit and
to the divine. We all have a little bit of the divine. If you're Christian, they teach you that there's a Holy Spirit that lives in you. Other cultures have different centering techniques. The Buddhists will center within themselves, and I'm not as familiar with the other cultures, but it's all about finding that peace that is within. It's all about, again, that alpha wave rhythm that you want to reach, that peacefulness, that mindfulness. In my particular practice, I can only bring it back to my practice because that's my experience. I find that I ask the patient, what is your belief? And then I build on that because I firmly believe that no matter what your faith is, if you're truly seeking the divine, that you will find him or her. You will find the divine if you seek for it. And in that seeking for the divine, the body has physiological changes. And those physiological changes slow down your heart rate, bring down your blood pressure, diminishes inflammation. I can't emphasize how important the divine is for us. And yet we've forgotten about it in our Western society. We're so focused on science as a concrete tool that we forget that there's another side to us, and we need to feed that side too.
Dr. Choy, you have given new meaning to exercise and the mind, and how that truly, holistically, can affect our overall health and total wellness. Thank you so much for this incredible insight. For more information on total wellness, exercise, and the mind, please visit Lasting Lifestyles at www.lastinglifestyles.net. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Janet Corbally, host of Lasting Lifestyles, a program created to provide informal caregivers the information they need to help a loved one manage a chronic condition. Today, there's so much information available to caregivers that it can be overwhelming. Therefore, Lasting Lifestyles was created as a new education and support program to help you. You can go to our website for information and tools that can help you be a better caregiver. And watch our television series, where we interview local experts on topics related to chronic conditions and wellness planning. Log on to lastinglifestyles.net. If you or a loved one has recently been diagnosed with a life-changing illness or disability, there is information available to help you stay independent and connected. Here's how. Go to our website, lastinglifestyles.net.
Thank you for joining us as we assess our health now and the future of total wellness. Joining me in this discussion, I'm pleased to have Dr. Maria Choy, who is a practicing neurologist. Thank you so much, Dr. Choy, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Dr. Choy, when we think of total health, total wellness, There really truly needs to be a commitment on one's part. But if one is saying, well, you know, I partially do well with my nutrition, I exercise once in a while, maybe I have some personal practices in place, is that taking care of my health now truly?
Well, there's an old Chinese expression that says that a journey of 1,000 leagues starts with one single step, loosely translated. Well, what you're describing is that first step. If we continue on that step and build on that, and not just do partial good nutrition, but go the whole way, we will achieve that total wellness. And it's a journey of a lifetime. It is not, I've got my goal here, let me check it off. Okay, I've reached it. You never reach that goal, because no matter how good you are, we can always be better.
We are notorious for setting timelines that we must have it completed by this time, this time, and this time. And if not, that then begins to build barriers up and preventing us truly from moving forward, because now we've just added more stress into our life, which interferes with our overall wellness and wellness planning and health. Additionally, too, we have fears that tend to guide us in our decisions and become barriers for us. Fear of trying something new, or I've already, you know, I'm so used to this. How is that going to change? Or, you know, it can be quite a struggle for some people, you know, in dealing with fears.
Well, we have to understand that fear releases all the wrong chemicals. Fear releases things that cause inflammation. Fears releases chemicals that cause pain. Fears raise our blood pressure, increase our heart rate. All the wrong things happen when we're in fear. If we have a mindful attitude, we change the things we can and accept the things that we cannot change, we will find that our body will find its own balance. Our body is really smart. We were designed to heal ourselves. If given a chance, the body will. It knows what it needs. When you crave for something, it means you need it. You have to just make good choices within the category that you have cravings.
Dr. Choy, you bring up an excellent point, being mindful, living in the moment, appreciating where you are as best. The situation is the situation, and how in this moment can you find some form of sacred space within you or within your environment that will help in your overall health and healing, which is very important.
Yeah, we call that attitude peace.
Great. That's a great way of stating it, peace. We want to get to that point where we have peaceful moments, especially, again, if we're dealing with so much stress today and responsibilities, and it's just the way our world is. And what we're confronted internationally as stresses and challenges that come our way, let alone our own family, getting all the way down to the core, our own family responsibilities and the environment in which we live, and how to manage that and bring balance into our life. Now, Dr. Choy, as we go into the future, we're recognizing what responsibility we need to take, and it's not like a long laundry list of things that we need to do to really begin. As you say, it's just small baby steps, and you know, going towards our own health and total wellness. What does the future hold for us when we're looking at our total wellness picture, and what kind of studies exist out there on, you know, when we're holistically looking at wellness planning?
Okay. Well, as far as studies that are out there, we're only beginning to scratch the surface. We do know that with meditation, the EEG changes. You have what's called an alpha wakefulness. You have an 8 to 13 hertz activity that becomes very prominent, that shows that your brain is very well organized. But in conjunction, you have the little beta activity up front that shows that you're very well aware of things. You're not asleep. So when you get into that state, you release, as I mentioned before, all the good chemicals that promote health. You release anti-inflammatory agents, and we know that inflammation is the major cause of heart disease, hypertension, pain. We also diminish the release of cortisol because that's what puts on the weight around the waist that none of us like. And we improve our overall health when we're in that physical state. And studies have shown that meditation can do that. Other studies have shown that the placebo effect actually starts a physiological chain of events in your body. Your body starts releasing these chemicals that I'm telling you about. So my question to you is it really placebo, fake effect like we've been thinking, or is it a real physiological effect? Is it your body's way to start healing yourself? And if so, can we use that effect and magnify it?
Interesting.
And create a total wellness for ourselves?
So, Dr. Choy, you're not saying that, okay, we have our Western medicine and it's phenomenal in what it can do, but we also have personal practices that can be balanced, not choosing one or the other. It's integrating them.
The balance between the two, yes. And studies have also shown that the brain, there's a new field of psychoneuroimmunology today. And we've shown that when the brain feels something, it releases a whole different set of chemicals. Even when you have positive feelings, you release a different set of chemicals than when you have negative feelings. The immune system is richly innervated with nerves that connect with our limbic system. And because of that connection, your immune system it responds to how you feel. And your immune system is what keeps you from having infections, is what keeps cancer at bay, is what keeps pain away. So when you put all of that together, psychoneuroimmunology becomes a major field. I think that the new breakthroughs will be in that field. There's a 2-volume textbook by Dr. David Felton that is about this thick for each volume that talks about all these chemical changes that take place. And hopefully the future of research will be in that area. As time goes, we'll have more clinical trials. Now we have bench trials, what kind of chemicals are released when this happens. We need more trials with large groups of people and see what is the overall effect on society when we apply these methods.
Dr. Choy, much for us to look forward to, much for us to put into personal practice, and a great hope for the future. Thank you so much for helping us understand what total wellness is truly about. For more information on total wellness, the health and our health of the future, please log into Lasting Lifestyles at www.lastinglifestyles.net. Thank you so much.